Nope, not going into a mine shaft. Definitely gonna load the furnace. So guys, as I've talked about in the past, the one way I heat my house in the wintertime is I use wood. As you can see up right there, I have a pile of wood for next year that I will split this spring and let it sit out and weather, also known as season. This wood furnace here is a central boiler HD 550 Classic Edge. My newest Vanna White. This furnace is a gasification furnace. So what it does is the wood gets loaded in here. The wood only burns on the bottom where the ashes are. And as the wood starts to catch fire, it creates smoke. That smoke is then forced downwards into the reaction chamber. In the reaction chamber, additional air is added to the already combusted gases, and you get a hotter flame. In Pennsylvania, the only central boilers units you can get are gasification units. They sell the E-Classic and the Classic Edge. The conventional style wood boilers are not really able to be sold in Pennsylvania unless you have a commercial license. So the nice part about this is the Easy View heat exchanger. And what that does is it gives you the availability to open up this door, and then there's a second door inside, and scrape that heat exchanger and make sure airflow is good throughout the whole furnace. These new central boilers also come with E-Link technology for the Firestar 2, I think is what it's called. And basically what that does is that gives me the capability of looking at my furnace from inside the house. I can tell water temperature, I can tell reaction chamber temperature, and I can actually watch the heartbeat of the furnace. Hey guys, what we got today is we're going to work on cleaning the furnace. This furnace has been running for about a month and a half. I used to actually own a central boiler E-Classic 1400, and after some issues I ended up trading it in and getting a new one. So what you have here, actually the blower just kicked on. You can see by the fan's on and the primary air solenoid is open. What you got here is what the temperature for the reaction chamber temperature is, and then what the water temperature is. This right here is a bypass door, and what that does is that works a lever inside of the furnace, and it forces, when you close the bypass door, as the wood is combusting inside of the firebox, the gases are forced down through to the reaction chamber. In the reaction chamber, they actually add additional air to the gases that are coming down through, and it secondarily combusts. You normally can average somewhere between 1,000 to 1,400 degrees inside of this reaction chamber temperature. As the gases travel through the furnace, it comes down through here, and they go up through what the vertical heat exchanger is, and that actually sits back here. That's where the Easy View heat exchanger is. So anytime you want to open the furnace, first thing you do is throw the bypass door open just like that. The furnace itself will start to click or beep, you'll hear that. Open up the door. Slowly let the smoke out. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to pull out all the ashes that are actually good. So inside you'll see there's a primary air charge tube, which is right there, that forces air downwards into the reaction chamber. And then what you'll see here is the ashes that are left over after combustion. That stuff is very, very fine. It's like talc powder. And this is what we'll be cleaning out today. We'll scrape some of this crud off the sides, get all that out of there. Same thing up here, we'll scrape all this crud off the door, off the sides, off the top, get all that down in, and then we'll refill it with the good bed of hot coals I have cooking right there. So what the plan is now is we'll take these hot coals, they're cherry hot red, put them back in the bottom of the firebox to maintain that that good coal bed that we're going to need to get this next fire started. And then afterwards I'll put new heat load on the furnace and we'll see how it goes. Now this is an EPA Phase 2 certified gasification outdoor wood boiler. So when it's running at full operational temperatures, you won't see any smoke. But until it gets up to that temperature, this thing might smoke like a freight train. So stay tuned, we'll watch. Alright guys, I'll show you where I store my wood now. This is an old barn of ours that has a basement. So inside this old barn, you can see I have our wood stacked. Normally I have it across this wall as well, out to the trough. And then I will stack this back and forth this way, out to the door, and then I stack my way out the door. In Pennsylvania this year, it's been pretty warm, so haven't gone through the amount of wood that I normally go through. And also I had issues with my old central boiler furnace. So because I had issues with my old central boiler furnace, I got a warranty claim and got a new one. That's how I ended up with the 550 HD that's out there now. So that furnace was delivered a couple weeks after Christmas, got it up and running. And it has just been a warm January and a warm February. Normally throughout the year I would burn between 5 and 7 cords of wood depending on how cold it is. This year with the additional issue that I had with my furnace, I think I'll be lucky to probably burn 5 cord of wood this year. So that's where this comes into play. PennDOT came through and cleared our road. They wanted to make sure they maintained the right-of-way, and they dropped a ton of trees. Right after that, I followed behind with my trailer for as many loads as I could possibly get. It's a mixed bag. You've got some cherry, some oak, some black locust. Pretty nice sized black locust right here. And then also one of my favorite firewoods to burn, Osage orange. Osage orange is hard, hard, hard. You need to have chains, multiple chains when you're getting ready to cut this stuff. But boy, does it make a pretty hot fire. So some Osage orange right there, and then some soft and hard maple. wait about between 10 and 15 seconds, and then I'll throw the bypass door down. And when I do so, like I said, the air gets forced into the firebox inside of here, causes the flame to burn downwards through the reaction chamber temperature, and then once the temperature gets high enough, it'll put more air into the reaction chamber and causes that secondary combustion. So I've shot this video over multiple different days based off of weather conditions, timing, etc. So today what I want to show you a little bit is how I have this system plumbed into my house. We've done a pretty quick overview of difference between water temperature and reaction chamber temperature. That number right there, 878, is actually what the reaction chamber temperature is, and the 178 is what the water temperature is. The furnace is in an active burn right now. So down here, what you'll see is a Taco series pump. That Taco pump takes the water from the furnace. This is where the hot water outlet is, and plumbs that underground to my house. And then the cold water returns, comes up back through and right into the furnace. So the hot water comes in this way, and this is what you call a thermostatic mixing valve. This thing does not open up until the water temperature reaches about 165 degrees, I think, or 160 degrees. If it's below that, it recirculates back to the furnace. If it's above that, it opens it up, comes up the pipe, around through, and comes into the system to heat the hot water. The supply line here is on the very bottom. It comes across into the return duct of my forced air furnace. This actually works as when the house calls for heat, it opens up the valve that's inside of this and allows hot water to run into the coils. Because the ceiling is so low in my basement and I have central air, which is right here, this heat exchanger here could not be stacked on top of the plenum. So we had to put it in the return. So overall, love the unit. Seems to be a little bit easier to take care of than my older unit, which was the E-Classic 1400. This Classic Edge doesn't get as hot, so I was really surprised. You know, running this furnace, I'm used to seeing reaction chamber temperatures 1300 degrees in the bottom. This one, 1200, is probably about the hottest that I've seen. So that's kind of a little bit different. Ease of maintenance, I cleaned it out, as you'll see in the video, and it seemed pretty easy compared to my old one. I used to have to make a coat hanger contraption that I would open up air holes with. This one, I don't have that same issue. Obviously, haven't been running it as long either, so you know, the ease of use to me is worth a lot. So hopefully this furnace continues to pay dividends for us. If you have any comments about the furnace that you run, some pros, some cons, especially around the central boiler, you know, drop me a line, comment below. I'm actually part of a central boiler group on Facebook. A lot of great people there, very knowledgeable. Some that have actually saved my butt a time or two. So think about joining that as well. If you like what you're seeing, guys, hit that thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the video, and follow us on Rocky Acres Farmstead's Facebook page for more content.